Here I have some green olives that I bought fresh in my local marketplace, and I'm going to teach you how to cure olives at home. The first step is to put your olives in pure water. You can also use some baking soda or salt water for some different, to try to speed up the process. The general way of doing it is using lye, but I prefer not to use lye. You need to soak in at least water for at least a week, changing the water every day. These have been soaking for a couple weeks, but it's really just because I haven't gotten around to moving them to a brine solution. So after a couple weeks, you can taste one and see if it's still bitter, and I already did this. And to tell you the truth, my olives taste pretty flavorless, so I hope that the brine will bring back some of their flavors. Now I'm going to drain them, and then we'll start making a brine. Here I have my drained green olives that had soaked until they're hopefully completely free of the bitter compound oloropein, about 3/4 of a liter. And I am mixing a solution of salt and water, which will be my brine for the olives. I want about a 10% salt solution, which is enough to float an egg. And I have here about 1.5 liters of water. My egg is still sinking before I started. Just need to keep mixing in salt. 10% salt solution is enough to keep the bacteria away, but you don't want too much salt because there's no need to make your olives more salty than necessary. Looks like all the salt dissolved. Let's see if the egg floats. Oh boy, almost. Look at that. Oh, it's coming back up. There we go. I'm going to call that a floater. Yay. Okay. That was a raw egg, by the way, that I washed with some soap and water. I take how much brine I have, divide it by 8, and that's how I'm deciding how much apple cider vinegar to use. And I think you can use other kinds of vinegar. I just thought apple cider would be good. So that's going to give me, I need to use a little bit under 200 milliliters of vinegar for this solution. In the vinegar goes. Mix that up. And now I'm ready to get my jars. Okay. Here I have some clean jars from tomato sauce and peanut butter. And I'm going to divvy my olives out into the jars. Looks like my two 400 milliliter jars were big enough. You can also intersperse the olives with lemon slices, peppers, other spices, whatever you really want. Actually, I think that I'm going to try one with some curry, just for fun. So, I have a little baby food jar here. Tried 7 olives in there. Personally, I don't want my olives too spicy or too bitter, so that's why I want to skip the lemon and the peppers. But I thought that the curry might be fun. So, without wasting too many olives, we'll find out in a few months how that worked out. Oh, love how that does that. You see that? I got this on sale today. 2 reasons that we use olive oil. One is just really to keep the olives will float to the top of the water. They won't float to the top of the olive oil. So the olive oil will keep the olives submerged and out of air, which will keep them from getting bacteria and whatnot. The other reason that my friend's mother, Mrs. Lankin, told me is that olives, there's a saying or a superstition that olives make you forget, and the olive oil is like the antidote to that. So you have to use real olive oil on top. I'm going to make that as high as I can, a nice thick layer. And there. And close that up for at least 2 months. I'm going to store this in the back of the cabinet and see how they come out in a couple months. Before I started curing my own olives, I was discussing it with a couple friends, and their mother cures her own olives. So I was able to get lots of advice. These are some olives that Mrs. Lincoln has had curing for 4 years, and she says the longer you wait, the better. She was so generous to give me these, and our whole family thinks they're great. Personally, they're a little spicy for my taste. I think I see some chili peppers in here, so that's why I'm doing mine just with salt.